Welcome back, and today's topic is twofold. We'll be looking at the vote for the tax or vote against the tax increase sponsored by JCPS, and we'll also be diving into the conversation around student assignment. To do that, we have a parent with us today, and a very important parent in our district. She happens to be the founder of the Louisville PTO, parent-teacher organization, and she also is very busy in our community, not only as a parent, but as a consultant, and you may have even seen her on some media programs. So welcome to the show, Miss Latasha Harrison. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. So today, again, we want to break down, first and foremost, the tax increase. We want everybody to know that JCPS, right now, when you go to the polls, you are going to be voting yay or nay, yes or no, around the proposed tax on your property or real estate. The proposal is to have citizens in our city vote to increase the property tax 7 cents, not per cents, but cents. 7 cents for every $100,000 of value in real estate. What that means is for the average homeowner, if you have a $100,000 house, then you would be assessed an additional $70 a year. And again, that multiplies or decreases according to the value of your home. What JCPS hopes to get out of that is a total of $54 million. $54 million that they want to spend on the children in JCPS. So like anything, the first question becomes, what are we spending that money on? What does JCPS intend to do? So JCPS's stated purpose around the tax increase is, one, the economy. Their rationale is that as we move into this new economy, employers are wanting more out of their students, and therefore education systems need to change to address the needs of the economy, more 21st century skills. Secondly, equity. Jefferson County's assertion is that they can spend money on making schools better that maybe have been neglected. And we're talking about mostly schools that have a overwhelming population of Black or brown students and are low performing, low economically, socioeconomically based. 3, the safety and health of all of the students, making sure that their buildings and the people that go into their buildings as well during this season are prepared to do so and need money to do that. And last but not least, investing in teachers, teacher training programs, professional development, also talking about Black and brown professionals coming into the classroom as teachers as they haven't been before. They're proposing to do all of those things with accountability, And so today we turn to our guest to ask her what are her thoughts about vote yay or nay for the tax increase. And we want you to listen closely to this parent and then see where you come in. But first, before we jump into that, we just want to ask Ms. Harris, tell us a little bit about your experience. How do you come to have students in Jefferson County, and what schools do they attend?
I have a total of 4 kids in school right now. I have 1 that's in private school, and then I have 3 that go to different JCPS schools. 1 goes to the Du Bois Academy, and the other 2 go to Moore Middle and High School.
Okay, and the ones that are in Jefferson County, is there a difference you see in their education?
It's night and day. It's truly night and day. And it's really, it causes concerns, and that's why I try to push so hard and be involved in the change that's occurring, because like my daughter, she goes to KCD and she has violin, she has 4 years of Spanish, there's so many different things that they do.
Just options available.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then like in JCPS, you know, Spanish is one of the things that it's not required, you know, and kids have to be very versatile these days. So getting those resources is very important, and we really do need this tax increase.
Okay, so we need this tax increase. So let's talk about some of the specific items they've listed, and then tell me what are your concerns? I mentioned the economy, equity, safe, healthy classrooms, as well as teachers. But under the economy, and one of the things that they demand is that saying that we demand a school system that will prepare every child in every neighborhood, workforce training and career-ready programs. What's been your experience in the high school around specifically education that fits the economy? Are your children involved in any of those type of workforce development programs? Are you aware of those?
There's a limitation on those programs. I know at Moore they really don't have, they have the magnet program that they have, of course, that they have there, but it's selected kids. And then I know that my stepkids, previously, before they were with me, they had a little bit of concerns with going to school on time and getting the grades that they should have. So then that was, of course, one of the reasons why they couldn't get into certain of the schools that we applied for. So it's just like you're kind of in a situation where there's always some type of red tape that our children have to go through.
So just for clarity, so your experience has been that your bonus children did not have the best history with attendance and with even tardies, I assume. Mm-hmm. And as a result, when it was time for them to apply for programs, that was used against them.
Of course, yes.
Okay, so then, the people watching this might say, well, that's your fault. What would you counter with that?
Well, it wasn't my fault. It was something they are kids, so their parent wasn't, I'm kind of different. I'm really involved with my kids, so it wouldn't be my fault. It's just sometimes kids get in circumstances that are not under their control.
That's right.
And we have to be more, give them more compassion because if you're in a situation where something caused you to not be able to do things, it shouldn't be, this is it, and you can't make a change in direction.
Especially as it affects our children.
Yes.
And I really wanted to emphasize that point because, again, as we try to talk about issues that affect the Black community, unfortunately, in so many areas, we suffer from, of course, economically first because of where we are as a people in terms of the wealth gap. We don't have a lot of opportunity, a lot of exposure to some of the benefits that the rest of the community has. And so if you have parents that are working 2 or 3 jobs, excuse me, it would become necessary that their child is probably going to fall behind, mm-hmm. or the situation's going to be, more detrimental to the child. And we don't want to hold them accountable for that.
Right, and I think that people should be really more compassionate because you don't really know what the parents are going through. Some of the parents are having to do 2 or 3 jobs to make sure that their kids can eat, and that's why they can't be involved. And I think that JCPS as a whole, we just got to do more to get the parents involved, do alternative methods of things to see what is it that we can do to make things better for our students. Black students is what I'm talking about.
All right, so let's follow up on that last question because you mentioned compassion more than a couple of times, and I think that is so interesting as we talk about our city being a compassionate city. And we know that we are looking at all the systems within our city now to find out if truly they are compassionate. And one of the ways we talk about that is around equity. So the second piece of the plan actually calls for a discussion around equity. And it says that one of the things that the tax increase hopes to do is to invest in communities that maybe have not had that investment before. Mm-hmm. It wants to do things in the Black community, largely ignored, to help improve the educational systems. What specifically would you like to see at your children's school that relates to maybe the color of their skin?
I really believe that our kids, all kids really, they need to be taught about who they are and where they come from in elementary school. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is important. Why does it have to start in middle school? I know that JCPS is in the process of, that's one of the things they want to do, but start at elementary.
That's an excellent point. So we're talking about compassionate curriculums, and really for us that means the introduction of Black history curriculum, mm-hmm. not only at the high school and middle school levels, but at elementary. And I would dare say all throughout the entire city of schools, not
yes.
just schools in Black neighborhoods, because many of our students go to schools outside of the Black community, which is one of the things we're going to talk about when we talk about the student assignment plan. All right, the third area that they kind of delved into in terms of money is safer and healthier schools. What does that mean to you? How do you as a parent even interpret that?
You know, that's crazy that you say that. I know that the state of Kentucky has said that they wanted police into the schools, and to me that's not safe. The reason why it's not safe is because you don't understand what our kids are. Look at what they're going through right now, what they see on TV. The case with Breonna Taylor. The police did not protect her. So we're in the moment right now that we're teaching our kids. You know, police are supposed to protect you, but this situation, it kind of happened differently. So how to bring those kids into school with police there, how do you not know that that's a trigger for them?
So interesting you say that. In the studio that we're taping in, one of the things that happens when you first enter, like any professional building nowadays, is your temperature is taken. And one of the first times we came, I poked my forehead forward expecting to have my temperature, and they said, no, we're actually going to do it on your wrist. And when I inquired as to why, they said it's a more accurate read. Plus, many African Americans, Blacks who visit this facility don't like having something pointed at their head. And so that could be a trigger for someone. So in the same way, we look at what triggers our kids, and you talking about the police is an area for consideration. Finally, the last part of the specific plan calls for teacher investment, more Black and brown teachers in the classroom, as well as professional development and training. How do you stand on that issue?
I think that is amazing. Our kids need to see that being a teacher, that they can see themselves in their teachers and somebody that they can relate to. And also in JCPS at the district office, they need more of us there too as well.
So how would you classify your statement of support now with the tax plan?
I support the tax increase, but I want to make sure that our children get the things that they need.
Absolutely. And so as a former principal and now principal Pennix, I will say that I'm in that same base. Everyone, you'd have to be crazy not to support our children with the tax increase at this critical moment in our educational system and in our city. At the same time, I want to know, what are we doing with what we've had, and what are the plans to do with what we will be gaining, particularly around accountability. When I visited the website to try to get more information about the tax increase, it said that there was a resolution passed in September of 2020 that sought to invest the money that would be gained in these areas. Again, and I think you'd agree, we want some more specifics about what that means. Specifically, how will that money be used to benefit Black children in our community? And it's a question we want you to ask. We want you to be involved in that discussion. We want you to seek out, not only with your school board members, but Dr. Polio himself, asking those questions of, how do we know that this money is going to go to my child's school? And most importantly, I guess, what would be different moving forward that would help reduce the achievement gap than where our children have been for the last 40 years in Jefferson County public schools? So that's been part one of our discussion around the tax increase. Hopefully we've given you enough information to make an informed decision. We want you to come back right here next week at the same time when I'll have on the same thing, but it's part two of the conversation where we look at the student assignment plan, and how it affects you, because they are two very different issues. Don't forget, the actual election day is November 3rd, but voting starts today in our city, so you are welcome to go out there early, vote. Make sure your vote is heard. Make sure your vote is counted. And after listening to this show, we hope you've gotten a little bit more information on how to make your vote. Again, my name is Michelle Pennix. It's been my pleasure. Same time, same place next week. And as always, to God be the glory.